The Women's Fund of East Tennessee is celebrating 10 years of helping women and girls in our region, changing lives now and for generations to come. The 10th annual Women's Fund Luncheon begins right now. Hi everyone, welcome to the 10th annual Women's Fund Virtual Luncheon. I'm Lori Tucker, and on behalf of WATE 6 on Your Side and our crew, it is my pleasure to bring you this virtual program this afternoon. You know, the vision of the Women's Fund is bold, every woman self-sustaining. Take a second, think about that. Can you imagine the transformation we will see in our communities when this happens? It really is big. Well, a group of women, a few of whom are with us in the studio today, have done significant work to impact the lives of and break down barriers for low-income women and girls in East Tennessee. You know, today is especially significant for this group as we celebrate 10 years of their hard work and the fruits of their labor. We'll be briefly highlighting 10 special stories to reflect on these impactful 10 years over the next 45 minutes for you. But first, you may notice we're in a little living room on the set. Let me explain. With me today are Women's Fund Executive Director Terry Morgan and two such important women from the original founding group, Marty Begala and Alice Mercer. Thank you so much for being with us. We are in awe of what you have done. Our first story is about them gathering initially in Marty's living room, right? And how their desire to do more for others resulted in, well, let me allow one of them to fill you in about how they got started with this important mission. Marty.
Laurie, this was so unique. There were 5 board members from the East Tennessee Foundation, and we had been asked by the board to see if there were things that our foundation should be doing for women in our region. So that was the way we got started, and we did a lot of brainstorming, some of it good, some of it not so good. And what we determined was it was probably a good idea to come up with an endowment, because what that would do is we would be able to, long after we were gone, the fund would remain, but in the meantime, we could spend the interest from the endowment to help women and girls in our region. So that was our charge. The first thing we did was Alice, who is very clear about things, came up with a really good case statement for the Women's Fund. We took that, we developed a list of likely suspects that could afford to make a contribution to get the fund started. Now, we had to make a contribution first. So we did that, then we took our list, off we went, and periodically we would have meetings back in my family room to determine where we were.
That's wonderful. And so Alice, pick up the story from there.
Well, what Marty says is the truth. We really were meeting and making decisions and having fun doing it at the same time. After we went through and we ended up with our list of donors, we were able to get some funds that we unexpectedly received. And so we were, did the first phase of our campaign. It was the quiet phase. And then we went public with a large gathering of women to end up helping women and girls in our region. So in doing that, we launched the effort for the Women's Fund in February of 2011. So that was the first big public launch. And then we started fundraising through this group, additional fundraising, and we got so excited when we received notification that a woman in Upper East Tennessee had donated $500,000 to our effort. So we knew at that point that we were pretty self-sufficient, that we could manage, that this was going to be a success.
That was difference-making money.
It was difference-making money. So we went along. There were 5 of us initially, as Marty said, and that included Kay Clayton and Mary Ellen Brewington, Marty and myself, and last but not least, Carol Transu, who with her enthusiasm and her knowledge of the problems of women and girls got us so motivated and so enthusiastic that we ended up I don't know, we just ended up just blossoming. And we're so sad Carol can't be with us today. She's ill, and we miss her so very much.
I know you do. And, you know, just listening to how this all started, and then we see where it is right now. This is so amazing. What was born from a small group gathering has now grown into a $4 million endowment that serves women and girls in 25 counties of East Tennessee. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's pause here for a moment and remind all of you in our audience how to help us get the word out about today's event. Here's all you need to do. Join us on social media by using the hashtags Women's Fund ETN and hashtag Every Woman Self-Sustaining. And don't forget, of course, to like and share about us on your other social media platforms. We have one additional surprise for Women's Fund members and our viewers alike, and this is from the city of Knoxville.
The Women's Fund deserves our recognition for their investment in women and girls to create healthier communities for everyone. Now, therefore, I, India Kincannon, Mayor of the City of Knoxville, do hereby proclaim September the 23rd, 2021 as to be Women's Fund of East Tennessee Day. We celebrate you.
What an honor, right, everyone?
Oh,
So exciting.
unbelievable.
Proclamation from the
That's
city.
fantastic.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
And you know, we wanted to mention quickly here, there is also a live online auction for this critical annual fundraising event for the Women's Fund. It's a way that you can help give back and have some fun too, get some great items. It can be found on HandBid again this year. Many of you are already taking part in the bidding because it's been up for a few days. You have until Monday too to try to win your favorite item. So Terry, here's where you come in. Would you like to share a couple of items available for viewers to bid on right now?
Absolutely. And you know, it's fun to see all the bidding going on right now. We have almost 50 amazing items from very generous donors. It would be really hard to pick two. So what I will tell you is that we have everything from sporting events, clothing, jewelry, spa and laser treatments, children's parties at the zoo, yachting events, cruises, some of the most famous chefs from the region doing dinners in private homes, something for everyone. So we want everyone to get on and bid, and I think right now they're showing the information and the link on how to get onto HandBid. But new this year, you can actually take your phone, scan the QR code that's showing up on the screen, and that will take you directly to HandBid. So we're making it very easy for you to get on and bid. Great for holiday shopping, and so we want to get that bidding started.
Cannot be any easier. All right, thank you so much. So much fun. I already have my eye on a few things myself. So have fun with that, like I said. And now back to 10 stories, 10 years. You know, each year the Women's Fund builds upon the success of the past to bring you new insights to the work being accomplished in our area. This has been yet another challenging year, and our co-chairs and committee have done such a remarkable job getting ready for this day in light of the recent change to a virtual program. It was going to be in person, but you know why we're virtual. And it's my pleasure now to introduce our co-chairs, Connie Blaylock and Susie Whitener, just a few miles away at 1123 North Central, where they're hosting a party along with our third-year event host, By the Tracks Catering, with Nancy Kendrick and Miles Davis. Ladies.
We're delighted to have you here today to join us to support women and girls in East Tennessee who need our help to overcome barriers to be self-sufficient. Our 10th annual Luncheon Committee has worked so very hard to exceed our goal to sell over 700 tickets and seats, and many of them are here with us here today. Thank you is simply not enough to acknowledge their hard work and their organization to bring this event to fruition, especially as a last-minute pivot from going from in-person to virtual. Because of the rise of COVID again, our nonprofit, as well as other nonprofits, have had to come up and think of creative ways to inform and involve our donors. We are so grateful to Nancy and Miles for By the Tracks Catering. We're also so grateful for all of you joining us in our mission to help the women and girls in East Tennessee overcome the trajectory that they are now facing. Susie, can you tell us about our sponsors?
Certainly, Cotty. Please allow me to thank all the generous donors, sponsors, and friends who have made this virtual event possible. Without you, we would not be able to stay on task and be financially stable during such trying times. And because of you, we can help countless numbers of women work towards a brighter future. Additionally, I'd like to thank Lori Tucker and WATE, our media sponsor, and their wonderful film crew for bringing this program to you live today. So ladies, let's raise a glass to those in our audience who help us continue our work to make a difference. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, cheers indeed. We love this. And you know, events such as this one do take a great deal of volunteer effort. So our thanks are extended to all of these women and the volunteers at the bistro handing out the originally scheduled luncheon meals. That food always on point. Beautifully done. Let's move on now. There are lots of stories to tell. 10, in fact, for the 10 years we're celebrating back here in the living room. So ladies, who wants to tell story number 3 about another significant milestone in the early years of the Women's Fund?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think it's really important for us to be aware that when we became an independent nonprofit, a 501c3, that we were able to be able to do some things separate from the East Tennessee Foundation, who gave us such a wonderful start. And so we decided to keep our endowment in the East Tennessee Foundation. And then our operations happened in our offices. So this umbrella gave us the security, the East Tennessee umbrella did, gave us the security to work towards very specific goals. And we were so grateful to have that umbrella for us. So we've got this endowment now, and we are have been adding to it over the years, and it's allowed us to grant a portion of our money to grants every year to agencies. So then we decided to draft our mission statement at this point, and it was so important to do because we were a separate entity now. And so our mission statement says, the Women's Fund is a catalyst to transform the lives of women and girls in East Tennessee. And then we formed our vision, every woman self-sustaining. And that, just saying that gives me goosebumps right now, just bringing that back up again, because that's what kept us going.
Me too. It's powerful.
Yeah,
it is such a powerful statement. And, you know, just an incredible partnership with the East Tennessee Foundation. Thanks for sharing, Alice.
You're welcome.
We appreciate that. We love hearing the history and how this all started. And really, it's the perfect introduction to our next highlight, story number 4, where you, our guests, will get to meet some folks at the Restoration House. It is a network partner of the Women's Fund, which you'll hear more about from its founder, Daniel Watson. We'll also hear the inspiring story of Chastity Johnson, a graduate of their program who is achieving her dreams. Here's a sample of just what your dollars can help to accomplish.
For me to see other women in our community come together like they have to say, hey, we need to make a particular investment in our women in East Tennessee and young girls. To me, that was the right move. And I love the way they've approached it from a research standpoint and really trying to remove those barriers for young women and girls to access post-secondary education. We know how important that is for our families and for our communities. And too many times in East Tennessee, it seems like the narrative has been that women and girls don't need to go above their raising, is the way it's been put. And that's an unfortunate message, one that we want to see changed. We met Chastity years ago, and one of the things that she always wanted to be was to be a nurse, to go into that medical field. And she had barrier after barrier. And she ended up coming into the Restoration House and with her kids. And, during that time, she had the support she needed to succeed. And often that's what it is.
The Restoration House helped me really more so as far as like having a support system. My mom passed away when I was 23 and I'm an only child. So it was good to have access to people who were willing to walk alongside me, volunteer to help out with babysitting or, making a meal while I was studying, things like that. Since becoming a nurse, I'm, financially stable. I have stable housing. Um, I live pretty comfortably. And as far as my kids go, really coincidentally, my daughter joined the Air Force this year, and she actually is going to be a nurse in the Air Force. So she didn't pick it, it chose her. But it's interesting that we can have conversations about it and how excited she is to be doing what she's going to be doing soon. It makes me feel good, yeah, especially with them being able to see what it takes to set a goal and reach a goal. I think it makes them more goal oriented, and helps them to accept challenges because them seeing me go through it, I feel like it's more of an understanding that, people do go through challenges and life is not easy. Anything worth having is worth working for, and they understand that.
Okay, so Chastity, a little bit more about her. She has 5 children, single mom. She wanted to be a nurse. She earned her LPN. She's now working toward her RN. So she worked so hard to become an essential worker, a healthcare hero. And again, she couldn't have done it without the support of Restoration House and the Women's Fund. Strong women, strong futures, indeed. I love this story. All right, how about I let Marty step in now to highlight another significant milestone in the 10 years of the Women's Fund. We're talking, Marty, story number 5.
That's right. Laura, you just named our major program thrust, which is Strong Women, Strong Futures. Let me tell you where we began program-wise. In 2012, we began, I bet we used about $400,000, and we funded a number of individuals who were doing significant work with individual women and girls in our region. However, if you start adding up one person each year for however many years, it doesn't take you long to figure out it was going to take a long time to make much of an impact in East Tennessee. So what we did was we decided it made a whole lot more sense to fund a network of organizations and then have those organizations work within their population. And we had just multiplied many, many times our efforts. That was, I think that was significant. It's very unusual and it's extraordinarily effective. I want to show you one of the next examples.
Okay. So that leads perfectly to our next story, number 6. And how about I let Terry further explain the network?
So it's amazing that we are in our 10th year. It's hard to believe that, and even more exciting that we've been able to gift and grant $1.5 million that support life skills, work skills, and education as we advocate for change in domestic violence and human trafficking across our region. It's huge. And now to add this network, Strong Women, Strong Futures, we've grown in our recent grant making to 12 agencies. That's 24 leaders across our region making change. They are passionate about breaking down this barrier to post-secondary education. And when we say that term, we don't just mean college. We need college, trade school, or certification, something for every girl. They believe in our bold goal that we envision that every young woman will see college and post-secondary education as a real and viable choice, and then make that choice. In fact, the network has grown so large that we have needed to hire a navigator.
Yes, we're learning more about her. I had the honor of speaking with Portia Pickett of the Knox Ed Foundation, and she explained for us her new role. Let's listen.
So, as a navigator, I consider myself to be like, in a sense, a liaison between the Women's Fund and the actual network members. And so just providing support for them. If members of their organizations need resources, I kind of help coordinate it, find those resources. And so just serving as a resource for the community, but as well as the network members. So I just started. So far it has been just learning more about the organizations. I've heard, things, I've seen them around, but actually like learning the work that they do has been really intriguing. And just to realize, oh my gosh, you're doing some amazing things. Why didn't I know about this? How can we get, the word out about what you're doing? So it's just been fun to learn more about Knoxville, the organizations that are in the network in Knoxville, but as well as the ones that are outside of Knox County, but still in East Tennessee.
Don't you just love Portia's energy? She's so excited to get going. And I'm hoping you, our audience today, are moved to join our fundraising campaign with such critical work to accomplish. Your support is so needed. So Alice, do you have something you'd like to add? Maybe another milestone or story number 7, there we go, that you could share to keep us on track?
Yes. I think it's really important for us to realize and mention here that it's not just our 10th anniversary as an organization celebrating the lives of women and girls in East Tennessee, but this is also our 10th anniversary luncheon now. As you just mentioned, the most important fundraiser that we do every year. Normally we'd be sitting at Lakeshore Park under a beautiful tent and we'd all be together and chatting and having fun. But we know the lingering effects of COVID have kept us from being able to gather. And I think it's wise that we're doing this. So this audience, what we've missed is we've just missed having everybody together and having all of us together, celebrating how far we've come and where we are headed. But how lucky for us to have this unique platform with WATE to get our stories and our needs from our generous supporters out there. I sure hope you'll join us today to be a catalyst, to be the catalyst to improve the lives of young women and girls in East Tennessee.
You know, I just love seeing what you all have accomplished. And 10 years is not that long when you think about it. It's really a short time, so yay, you inspire me so much.
We didn't think we'd get here.
Oh my goodness, and here we are.
I wondered.
And you know, I'm hoping that those of you watching feel the same and you'll be moved by yet another great story. This is our feature number 8. I had the pleasure to meet Jenny Wright of the Boys and Girls Club of Kingsport and find out how the use of our funds has impacted the lives of young women she helps.
For me, it's been really great to see our girls think bigger, think further into the future than maybe they ever would have before. It's been really great to use the messages that we've really come up with in the network with our staff and get our staff even thinking bigger and better for all of our girls. And even beyond that, it's been great to see the family engagement piece. So to see our parents and caregivers get even more involved with our girls in planning for their future. I think for me, one of the best stories is Mandy, who was coming to the club in Elizabethton for many, many years. And the staff have worked with her over a long period of time. And she is naturally bright, naturally does well in school. But just given her life story, hasn't necessarily seen a huge future for herself. Her mother is absolutely committed, and we actually had her in one of our initial focus groups, and she talked about her aspirations for Mandy and where she would like to see her. And Mandy actually won our Youth of the Year 2 years ago and has continued through school, has set goals for her college education, and is now working part-time to help fund her future.
Another young woman on her way. Yeah. Yes. Is there anything we've missed? Maybe another story to share?
Well, I think we really need to highlight what we're doing with the YWCA. It's a significant organization in our community, and I think they have a very, very important program that's a part of our network.
Let's watch.
WCA sees a lot of value in being part of the Strong Women, Strong Futures Network. Of course, coming together quarterly and having those shared meetings and working toward our shared goals of post-secondary education for young women and girls is of the utmost importance. But we see a lot of value in the collaboration that happens even outside of those network meetings. I can always call, a friend in the network and, ask a question or lean on each other. And it's just been such a great source of community. And I think that's really important to have that collaboration. And it's really important for our organization. So we see a lot of value in that.
Can you share some of the stories of success that have really touched you?
We have staff who hold master's degrees, who hold bachelor's degrees, and we have staff members who are currently pursuing their college education. And so it's really impactful for our young people to see the results of that, what happens when you pursue a post-secondary education. And so we spoke with our lead counselor, Isabel. She's, a young first-generation college student. She works full-time for us at the Phyllis Whitley Center, and she's a full-time student at Johnson University. And so she, really embodies that for our young girls. They can see the impact that that's having for her, and they can relate to her.
I think that's so great. They're watching success in person as it happens.
Absolutely.
And that's a great lesson, one of the best. We've covered so much in such a short amount of time, haven't we? It's a great deal of information for our guests today to process. So let's give our minds a quick break. Check in on the fun auction. Terry, how's it going? Or, anything else you'd like to mention, other items?
Well, I would like to say they're having a great time. We can tell. But one of the things, as Alice mentioned, we would be under tent with these beautiful centerpieces. And this year, as featured here on our center table, through our benefactors, Tori and Tiffany at Wordsworth Classic, we would have had this beautiful set of women authored, beautifully bound with gold seal, the set of 5 of books for $75 in the center of the table. So now we're making those available. 75 sets of 5 are available on HandBid. So again, go to the QR code, go to HandBid, get your link, and if you're not into bidding on auction items and don't want to bid, just buy a set of books. They're beautiful, they're classic, they're all women authored, and you can make a great gift. It's great for your lake home or your own library.
Your own library, or I was thinking about my soon-to-be 5-year-old granddaughter. What a legacy to leave her, these important books.
Oh, yeah. Anyone.
That all of us women have read.
Absolutely.
Yes. I just want to thank you all for the invitation to be your MC this year and present the work you've done and are doing with the Women's Fund of East Tennessee. What a privilege to use this platform at WATE to share your story. 10 of them, in fact, for 10 incredible years of work to positively impact the lives of so many in our area. It's been my honor, and I sure hope to continue working with you, I don't know, over the next 10 years?
Absolutely.
And you, our audience, may have realized we aren't finished. I know you're savvy. We stopped at story 9. That's because you are story 10. It's about you. Won't you join us in the living room? Won't you help us write our future? We can't continue our fight to change the lives of young women and girls in East Tennessee like those you've met today without you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Inside all of us. It moves us to build businesses, to chase dreams, to break new ground, to find hope. But no matter where yours takes you, First Horizon Bank is there, helping you with financial tools and insight to make more of today and build a better tomorrow.